Alright, hi everyone, welcome back to Steam Flow. I'm a little late to the party, but we're taking a look at Gears of War Reloaded on the Steam Deck. But instead of a full overview, I want to give you my best settings that I found so far for 60 FPS, 45 FPS or even 90 FPS with lossless scaling. So without further ado, let's get into all of that. So I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but this is essentially a remaster of the original game with some upgraded textures, 4K visuals, 60 FPS for the single player campaign, 120 FPS in multiplayer, of course if your PC can handle it. It also includes features like HDR, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos and stuff like that. I do believe the multiplayer supports cross-platform matchmaking, so that is pretty cool between Xbox, PC and PS5. Other than that, you can play the entire campaign solo or via two-player co-op, either split screen or online. I'm going to jump straight into performance, and with my first recommendation for 60 FPS, you can expect frame rates between 50 and 60 FPS. Most of the time it's going to be locked at 60 with the occasional dip during heavy action. Now there's one thing I want to stress. The game has an in-game benchmark, I'll put that on the screen right now, but the in-game benchmark is very misleading. It suggests that the game can hit around 90 FPS on the lowest settings and stay at 90 FPS, but in real gameplay you see parts where performance drops down into the 60 to 80 FPS range even on those same lows. So in this case we cannot really trust the benchmark. It is limited to one specific scene and actual gameplay is the real test here. So my recommended settings for 60 FPS for the best experience, this is what I recommend. I've set FSR 3.1 to balanced. I have texture quality set to medium. Below that, the textures really don't look good. Anisotropic filtering 8 times. Shadow quality set to low. This is one that unfortunately is the most intensive on the GPU. Ambient occlusion set to quality. Motion blur off. I don't really like motion blur at all. You can leave it on if you want. Visual effects quality medium. Screen space reflection set to medium. And flash reduction set to off. This mix of low and medium settings keeps textures from looking muddy while still giving you pretty smooth gameplay. Now battery life here is about 2 hours and 45 minutes on the OLED Steam Deck. Now if you would rather trade a little frame rate for absolute stability and consistency, I can recommend this instead. Set the game to the high preset and cap the frame rate at 45 FPS, and for this one you can actually set FSR to quality. This gives you a rock solid 45 FPS with no dips and makes the game look far better than low and medium. Unfortunately, I don't have a 45 FPS footage, but trust me, it runs absolutely amazing. If you're into experimenting, this setup is also a great candidate for lossless scaling. You can run the game at 45 FPS and scale it to 90 FPS for a little bit extra smoothness. Just remember, turn off your FPS cap if you're using lossless scaling. Now on to battery life. Battery life changes a lot depending on the settings you choose. 60 FPS with the low and medium mix runs for about 2 hours and 45 minutes. I also tried 30 FPS on the lowest settings just to try and stretch that battery life, and you can get around 4 hours and 30 minutes. It's perfect for travel, but I really don't recommend playing the game at 30 FPS. It's best enjoyed at least 45. And the high preset at 45 gives you about 3 hours of playtime, which I think is a sweet spot between visuals, smoothness and battery. Now on to control and features. I think the experience here is pretty good. The game has full controller support. There's online multiplayer and co-op and both run fine. The multiplayer I think uses easy anti-cheat system, which works perfectly on the deck. There's no extra tweaks needed. It's not gonna boot you out of it. So yeah, it just works. So overall, while the benchmark makes it seem like Reloaded should hit way higher FPS, the real story is different. For me, the high preset at 45 FPS with FSR set to quality is the best way to enjoy the game on the Steam Deck, but if you do prefer 60 FPS, that's also an option. Now if you found this video helpful, give it a like, let me know what settings you're using down in the comments. Before I let you go, I wanted to officially say that the channel is now partnered with Instant Gaming. If you want to grab Gears of War Reloaded or any other title at a discount, I'll leave my affiliate link in the description, and using it helps support the channel while saving you money. Also, don't forget to check out my Steam Curator page where I post recommendations, reviews and best settings for tons of Steam Deck games that I review. The link will be in the description. And as always, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next video.